Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse?
Welcome to group chat. We're big Clubhousers now.
Yes.
So, I know you've heard the word Clubhouse out of our mouths probably 500 times in the last 2 episodes, but it's a new platform. As you can tell, Dee was really excited about it. And we're fresh off of Clubhouse chat number 2.
Dee was so excited. He's been talking on Clubhouse for 72 hours. He passed out and couldn't make today's episode.
Passed out, couldn't make it. He's not even here. He's too busy at home thinking of new ideas for Clubhouse episodes. So we're all about Clubhouse. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it means for us and what you can look forward to from us on Clubhouse.
Ooh.
Today we're going to hit you. It's just me and Anand and, of course, Pete and Tim. But we're going to hit you with just the absolute most important stories of the day. Super Bowl. A little bit of recap on the ratings. Might be interesting to some of our listeners.
A little nervous.
We also have the results of the investigation into the Kobe helicopter crash. Robinhood. New problems. Problems, but not related to anything GameStop, anything like that. Completely new problems. So we are very excited to talk about that. We're going to talk about our boy Elon sending Bitcoin to the mother effing moon.
Lambo time.
Pete's quitting, he said.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a little bit of insight into how much money he thinks he needs saved to quit a job.
Get a little better at math.
It might shock you. And then, of course, we're going to end with as seen on social.
Yes.
Me and Anand are going to tell you what we saw on social media in the last week.
We might have been radicalized.
Yeah, I'm radical.
I mean, the things we're starting to get into nowadays, very shocking.
I don't call them shocking. I call it shocking that everyone doesn't know it. So I'm here to bring truth.
Okay, relax, going on.
All right.
Young and radical.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Good work. All right, let's get into it.
Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, group chat.
Cash.
It's $1 trillion. Hot.
Clubhouse.
That was Dee's Allen Iverson moment.
Yeah.
Practice?
We're talking about Clubhouse?
Oh, that Soldier Boy moment.
What's the feedback?
Drake.
Yeah,
it is.
sure. I guess I'm aging myself saying Allen Iverson.
You are.
Yeah.
And the
Drake would've
kids
been
are talking about
Well,
Soldier Boy.
I think most listeners of this pod would know. The
So
Allen.
you're saying we have
Iverson.
old listeners?
Yeah.
Yes, older.
No way, dude. We had Zach B on here.
The youngest number 1 podcast in the world.
Come on. What's the reaction about Drunk Pod?
A lot of people said it's really funny. I got one text where somebody said a little trigger warning would have been appropriate because they
we
listened
trigger
to
warning. We said, here's
Well-
the real D. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, right. But she was like, I also listened to it at 8 a.m. So drunk D blaring through my speakers was a little bit much,
Hey,
but
we tried to
still.
warn you. If we ever say, here's the real D, get ready to be triggered.
And just turn down the volume a little
Here's
bit.
what's interesting about that night. So I was in the backyard of Dee's house watching the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And 20 to 30 minutes before we recorded, I was still at his house.
Yep.
And we were cleaning up, and he was super organized. And we're just like,
Oh, didn't show any signs.
no, he was fine. Did he just start downing shots?
Maybe everyone left and he's like, I'm going to get live for this
Yes.
pod.
Yeah, it was very surprising because Amanda listened to the pod and was like, we were just with him. What happened?
All right, well, listen, I did my best to moderate. And there was a point when I said, you know what? Fuck it. Whatever happens, happens.
I mean, it felt like election night after we've been drinking for like 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we did that watching the Super Bowl, but he was with it.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was like
like
organizing his kitchen and putting, chips here and pizza here and sandwiches there.
Maybe you left and just started shooting shots.
I think
Yeah.
he just like shotgunned tequila.
Yeah.
I was going to say, either that or it all kind of like caught up to him right when he sat down to record the pod.
Yeah, I guess when you're moving around and
That's
then you
true.
sit down,
That's true.
just all rushes.
It's like when you go to the bathroom in the club and you look in the mirror and you're like,
You're
what the fuck?
Holy shit.
Okay, well, Dee's still hungover, so he's out today. No, he just had some stuff to handle, but you got me and Anand, and we are going to give you the biggest, what?
You haven't shown appreciation for the new art I put up in here.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I saw it. So Pete put up a framed photo of an Elon Musk tweet that says Dogecoin is the people's crypto.
Yes. Dogecoin to $1, baby.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. You know what? I'm not mad
Yeah.
at it. And I think with the Harvard flag, I think we got a nice little thing going here in this, surfboard from Zopes.
It's a good contrast. Elon represents everything against what Harvard represents.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes. And Dogecoin represents the people.
Everything against everything.
Yes.
What's where are we at on Doge? I went.
Doge has had
80
some
cents
moments
or
over the
something?
week. So it peaked at about almost 9 cents. It's floating right around 8.5, which is the highest we've seen it.
Okay.
It floated back down. Reports are obviously through the roof to 10 cents sometime later this week.
I gotta be honest. I put more money. Once again, not giving you advice or whatever. Don't listen to me. But I put more money into Doge because when I just see the general will of the internet for Doge to be real,
Yes.
it's not something I take lightly.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair way of looking at it because if anything, we've realized 2020 and early parts of 2021, an asset is just worth what the belief system allocates it to.
Fundamentals are out the window.
Yes. No one's looking at Zoom's free cash flow and saying,
How boring. Sheesh. What's GameStop's free cash flow?
Exactly. It doesn't matter. And I actually was in a conversation today when we were talking about like crypto and what matters and what doesn't matter. And someone said, if I own Snowflake, I own the free cash flow of Snowflake. I was like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
I was like, that free cash flow is not coming to you.
No.
It's whether the stock goes up or it goes down.
It's free.
Yeah.
You're not getting any
It's
of
going
it.
up.
Okay. Well, listen, it's a new age, but when I see like the TikTok thing that like the general just will of Dogecoin to be real, I think there's something there.
Yes. And
Even if real means $10.
yes, 100%. If real means $1, I quit this job. Because
Really? You're that close?
no.
That could be like
What
tomorrow.
are we
I
at?
would- if I
7
put- if
cents?
I put-
What are we at? 7 cents?
Yeah. And I bought it in at 4.
So you're saying
So that's all
would
it takes
quit.
is the double, like you're $400 and you're out of here? What?
I put more than that into it.
What the hell, Pete?
you put more than $400.
Yes.
Did you put more than $5,000?
No. But I am teetering on pulling all out of Tesla, and
You might have more money in Doge than I do.
I have currently 1,500.
But the thing that could fluke into Doge.
Good for you.
Wait, what did he say? I didn't hear.
1,500.
At 4 cents or at 7 cents?
4 cents.
Okay, so you put 1,500 at 4 cents. You're
Yes.
almost at 3K.
And yes, and
So
the
you're
second,
hold on. Let's do the math. So you're telling me if you
it's
10x
like 15 grand.
the 3K,
It's really not that much.
You're
I
30
won't quit
grand.
this job.
You're gonna leave us. You're gonna be homeless.
Yeah, it's not a good plan.
Yeah,
You
no,
gotta-
no.
You gotta sort of forecast.
That was kind of just like a joke, and then you guys are the smart ones to
Maybe
actually
hit
do
up
the math.
Tim, work on some zoom out strategy.
Yes.
See how long that'll last you.
Yeah,
Because it's not going to be very long.
No, no. I'm gonna need to put everything I have into it.
All right, listen, I'm not mad at you. Hey, there's kids getting
But
rich.
you know what could happen is that there's so much hype around Dogecoin that developers actually start building stuff on it.
Yeah,
Like, why isn't that happening? Maybe it is. I just don't know.
it should be.
What does that mean exactly for maybe the average consumer that doesn't understand that?
So basically, if you think about all the other cryptocurrencies outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum,
Yep.
so Cardano, Polkadot, all these things, they're building applications that can actually be used.
Got it.
So Dogecoin was created as a meme.
Right.
Like we have zero use.
Right.
Like it was kind of a meme on a meme of the cryptocurrency world. Like we actually don't do anything.
Yeah.
And we're gonna matter. And all these other altcoins, and very few actually have any application yet. You have developers building stuff, but at scale, it's been very limited outside of Bitcoin, which is store value, Ethereum, where everyone's building on top of. So if all the army of Redditors who are pumping Doge, if they're like, hey, we're going to build a
Yeah.
DeFi application, it could go to $1.
Yeah. I just look. I mean, how much money does Fuck Jerry make? We've talked about Daquan selling the business. I mean, we live in Kylie Jenner is
why?
the most
Why would
influential person on earth. She's a billionaire.
Yeah.
Stranger things have happened, and we live in. I just saw David Dobrik, your idol, bought a new house that's a fucking palace.
$9 million house?
So there you go, man. You would have told me when David Dobrik was walking into the Young and Reckless showroom making vines, asking for T-shirts, that he'd be the guy, I would have not believed you. So Doge to the fucking moon.
All it takes is $1 billion from Elon saying, "Hey, we're building these 10 things." Doge goes to 10.
Doge it up. Walk my Doge. Call me Nate Doge.
And the way Elon's
Nate Doge Doge.
the way Elon's operating, would you be surprised if
No.
he's like, "I'm putting $10 billion into developers of Doge"?
So let's talk about it before we talk about Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse.
Elon, freaking Iron Man over here, catapulted Bitcoin
Yeah.
into another level yesterday. This guy, so what did he do? He took 1.5 billion of Tesla cash, converted it into Bitcoin. So now they have 1.5 billion on the balance sheet. And this is just, we're storing it. Here it is.
So they're holding Bitcoin because they want to start accepting Bitcoin as payments for Tesla.
For cars. Got it.
So I think they're just signaling to the market, "Hey, we're believers in this currency. Here we have 1.5 billion." And they don't really need that to accept Bitcoin because you can transact. Like, we could accept Bitcoin. Young and Reckless can accept Bitcoin. We don't need to own any Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It just transfers to USD immediately. And that's easily accessible for any e-commerce site. Any e-commerce site in the world
Today.
right now, today, there's applications where we could accept Bitcoin.
That's pretty cool. We should do it just to say we did it.
Yeah. And they don't need to own the $1.5 billion of Bitcoin in order to accept Bitcoin payments.
Yep.
They're doing it to signal to the market that we believe in this currency. So if you want to use it, go for it.
Got it.
And this could cause a stampede of corporate companies that are just going to use their cash reserves stored in Bitcoin. So the most famous example is this shitty software company, MicroStrategy, that put like $500 million in Bitcoin like 4 months ago, I think. It was at like 10K. And now their Bitcoin reserves is worth more than the company's worth. I feel like I joked about this
You did.
3 or 4 years ago
You did.
with Reckless. I was like, "Hey, we should just put our cash reserve in Bitcoin."
Yeah, you did. You sure did. And if we would have done that, we would have had $5 billion. Young and Reckless would be worth $5 billion
Yeah.
cash. Yeah, you're totally right. That's what is so funny to me is I understand in the future, but right now, the idea of like getting paid in Bitcoin is really cool. The idea of accepting what would have been cash, but in Bitcoin seems really cool. The idea of paying for something expensive in Bitcoin seems really stupid because it seems like you could buy a $50,000 Tesla that you ended up paying $200,000 for like in 6 months.
It's funny. Pod favorite Shamat tweeted today in 2014, he bought a Lake Tahoe property for $1.6 million in Bitcoin. And I think he did it as like a marketing, like, I believe in it. It's worth $128 million had he not bought that property. That property.
So somebody collected that money?
Somebody collected the Bitcoin, but did they transfer it to USD right away? Who knows? Do they hold it? So that seller of that Lake Tahoe property would have 100x'd.
What a weird fucking world.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
He first tweeted at 28 million and then he followed up with a tweet because actually it's 128 million. So even he was just like, I have no idea what the math was.
So the reason why for everyone, the reason why that caused Bitcoin to skyrocket is just that's a big step in corporate America, Bitcoin being more accepted on a bigger level.
Yeah, I think it's partially that you potentially can see other massive corporations saying we need to store, X billions of dollars in Bitcoin as a hedge against their US dollars. And it also is, I almost think it's like brand alignment.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is how Elon, he's his own guy. He thinks very differently than every other billionaire corporate CEO.
Yeah.
Think about what he just did. He aligned Tesla, the brand, with crypto.
Yeah.
Crypto is millennials and young people. Every crypto Redditor is now aligned with the Tesla brand.
Yeah.
So when they're sitting in their basement and crypto 10Xs, what's the first car they're going to buy?
Yeah. That fucking Tesla.
I think it's genius.
Yeah. What would be if I'm a company right now, if I'm well, I am, but Young and Reckless right now.
Sure.
Let's just say you're sitting on, $1 million cash. Should you put 100,000 in
if
Bitcoin?
you don't have use for the cash,
Yeah, if you don't need it.
if you don't need it, it's a hedge against inflation.
Yeah.
And if you actually don't have, I'm not saying put 50%, 75%, but I would view it similar to when people ask me who aren't really into crypto and they aren't into technology, I was just like, there's no reason not to have 5 to 10% of your net worth in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's actually no reason.
But the reason why I'm asking is like, if I'm a small business owner and I'm listening to the podcast, is there any reason why I should do that as opposed to just taking out the 100 grand and personally putting it in Bitcoin?
No, it's the same thing. I guess maybe there's tax events.
Yeah.
Like if you're paying corporate tax on it, are you doubling? If you own the company, I mean, that's probably an accountant's question.
Yeah.
How the company's owned.
So interesting. Okay. Do you want to talk about Clubhouse?
Let's do it.
Okay, so last night we were on Clubhouse. Clubhouse. So all the hype was around Clubhouse. That was the whole, Dee's whole rant. It was cool, man. I'm really into Clubhouse, especially for what we do.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's such an easy way to connect with your audience. I also think you talk a little differently because you're not, like we said, on microphones and cameras and you're not being watched at all.
Yeah.
I'm just pacing around my place. It's really easy to call people up and have conversations. And I think that for us, and probably for a lot of people, I think we need to be doing it way more often.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's almost the growth of Clubhouse in the last 30 days has just been astronomical. To go from 1 million users to 2 million to 6 million. And that 6 million number was a week ago. It's probably 10 or 12 by now.
Yep.
It's growing faster than Twitter and Facebook were at the same stage by a lot.
Yep.
And these moments in social media happen few and far between. We've seen it, a handful of times. We've seen it with MySpace early on, then Facebook, or Friendster, MySpace, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. And
Twitter,
now you're
if you
seeing
didn't say
it. You're talking 7 to 8 companies in 20 years?
Yeah. Tonight's Mr. Beast.
I saw that. Sriram got him.
Sriram, man. Sriram is recruiter number 1 out here.
Yeah, Sriram.
Don't you guys have a connect to him?
We know him. We're friends with him.
Get his ass on this.
We'll get him on the pod. He can explain.
Get him in our Clubhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why
Steal
is
that
that audience? Yeah.
Send him a text and be like, "Hey, buddy."
Because that's what we got to do now. What we got to do now is this is what we do. We got to figure out how to not only, have a really great couple shows on there and conversations and whatever, but how do we grow? How do we reach new people? The best way that I know on any platform is to find other people who have good followings on there and have them come on our show and talk. But I really believe in it, especially for what we do.
Yeah. And I also think if you're a young content creator, not young, any content creator that hasn't popped off yet, this is your shot.
Yep.
Because
what else I think is your shot for is our conversation last night was why you should be famous, why you should build a platform, why you should whatever. For some of the more maybe awkward types or maybe, whatever, it's a great platform where you don't have to be on camera. You don't have to look all, pretty. I think there's a lot of people that will be able to build a platform or a following on there that maybe couldn't or don't lend themselves to other platforms.
Yeah, I would say if we were at Staples Center and we had 20,000 people listening to us talk, we would act differently than if we had 20,000 people in our Clubhouse room.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just wandering around my house with no shirt on.
Drinking your athletic greens.
Drinking my athletic greens, getting my, my vitamins and minerals. And you don't even know.
Yeah, it's very easy. And it's very easy. And you're going to have the big dogs come in. So if you are someone that wants to play in this game, you got to go now.
Yeah, you got to go now. That's how TikTok is or was.
Once Joe Rogan and all these guys decide to do Clubhouse, I actually think they're going to be out to lunch.
For a long time, I think.
Because they're making so much money in their current platform, their current existence, that they're just not going to pay attention to it.
That's how it always works, right? Look at all the biggest stars right now on social media are from TikTok. And none of the some of them, but not a lot of the YouTubers, the Instagrammers transferred over in time. And it gave all of this new generation a chance.
Yes.
And I think that's the same thing that's going to happen on Clubhouse.
Yeah,
You're going to have stars on Clubhouse that nobody even knows of right now.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's funny, the stars of Clubhouse are the founders, They have the most followers.
Yeah.
I think one has 1.8 million. The other has like 1.5.
Yeah.
Then you have like Mark Andreessen, who I think has 1 million.
Yeah.
And it's still so early.
Yeah,
like
it is.
no one would have known who these two founders of Clubhouse are, Paul and Rohan. And now they're like actually kind of famous, right?
100%. When do you think they open it up to not invite and more than 5,000?
That's more like, 5,000 per room.
Yeah.
That's probably just a scaling issue that they're just
You think
building.
that's a tech issue or a strategy?
Good question. Probably both.
Okay.
I think it's partially a tech issue and partially. So it's, Andreessen Horowitz was an early investor in Pinterest.
Mm-hmm.
And Pinterest, I think, got to some absurd number of users. I don't know if it's 100 million or what on an invite only.
Yeah.
So I think they saw as like
Got
a
it.
kind of a growth hack. Like it's pseudo, like tell a friend, and
Yeah.
it creates this virality of word of mouth. And, people are like asking for invites. So I think they're using that playbook, and it worked on Pinterest.
Yeah.
Pinterest is a wildly successple company,
Yeah.
and they're using that strategy with Clubhouse. And it's
pretty
working.
cool. I mean, when you have like Elon and Zucks and Mr. Beast, all those Mr. Beast fans are like, how the fuck do I get invited?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. I don't know. I just think for all of our listeners, we gave away 5 invites.
Yes, I currently have 2 more.
Oh, we have 2 more.
And they'll kind of reload. So what's really important is for you to go follow us, especially on Twitter at Group Chat and on Instagram at Group Chat Pod, because that's where Kai and I will be posting invite opportunities.
When do they reload?
So pretty much if you're active on the app. So
That's a cool
speaking in
strategy.
rooms, doing stuff like that, inviting people. Like I gave away all 7 of mine that I had. An hour later, I went back on 3 more. So it's just really about being active, inviting more people.
That's
really
actually
cool.
That's a better viral strategy than I thought.
That's really
Right.
good.
So
I
it
thought you
doesn't
said
take long.
5, and that was it.
No.
Oh.
Because and then once if there's people in the waiting room, so you can essentially download the app, but then you get put in the waiting room and somebody on the app can let you in. I've done that for multiple people, even random ones that I've had on my phone somehow.
Yeah.
And I've gotten like 3 all of a sudden from doing that. So
Okay, well.
Do you know what's cool though is that I'm hopeful that Clubhouse, unlike Instagram, the growth hacks aren't going to last.
Yeah.
So meaning if you are hosting rooms, I don't care if you have 100,000 followers because you figured out how to game it, because there's already gaming it. You show up in a room, you add 10 followers, you raise your hand, you add 20 followers, and people are doing that to get their follower base up.
Totally.
But the feedback loop should be, if you're actually hosting the room
Yeah.
and you're not saying interesting stuff,
Yeah.
people are going to leave.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I really think on an app like Clubhouse, the quality of the content solely is going to matter.
Yes.
Because no one cares what you look like. No one cares. Look, initially maybe, but no one cares how many followers you have on other platforms. It's different if you're like Mr. Beast. But if you're just like some guy or girl with, 500,000 followers on Instagram, no one gives a shit. It's only going to be the quality of what you're offering.
Yeah.
It's cool, man. Well, listen, make sure if you're already on there, follow us all. You just type in our names for the most part. We're going to make a group chat page.
Yep.
We're going to go on there a lot. Like I think at least twice a week we'll have like scheduled shows.
So right now we have it scheduled for sure Monday nights at 8 p.m. So kind of put that in your calendar. For sure Friday at around 1, 2 p.m. We love that little afternoon. We know you guys don't
That
work
happy
at home.
hour, that early
happy
happy
hour.
hour.
Look,
Yeah.
you are working
You're
from home.
drinking your IPA.
You're damn right. You ain't done a thing
Let's
all
be honest.
goddamn day.
Yep.
And your boss has taken the afternoon off. Go ahead, log on. We're going to do kind of behind the pod Q&A session on Fridays for sure.
And here's the cool thing. Tell whoever's around you, you're on
Yeah.
calls.
Yeah.
Sorry, on
Hey,
the phone.
yeah, go ahead and schedule off that time in the calendar. Say, hey, got a couple calls
Conference
to take.
call. If they're like, hey, I don't believe you, put it on speaker for a second.
Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a conference call.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
there you go. And that's 2021 for you.
That's 2021. That's how to not work while working.
Yeah, that's how you get paid for not doing nothing.
Yeah, the art of 2021.
Yes.
And I'll say our rooms are great. Maybe
Yes.
it's because we talk 3 times a week for 500 episodes for 2 hours at a time.
Yeah.
That we're able to hold a good discussion. But
Yeah, we know what we're doing. And even, we have some practice. We put in our 10,000 hours.
You would think all this practice we get to this platform, we just fumble the
we
fuck
were
out of
built
it.
for Clubhouse.
Yes,
It finally
yes.
came.
Yes.
We started 3 years ago because we knew a platform like Clubhouse is going to
Yep.
come on and we're going to kick everyone's ass.
Hey, that could end up being true. We fuck around and have 5 million followers on Clubhouse in a year. This was all training.
This is all training. It worked.
And I will say too, last night you and Dee had to take off a little early, so I was like, "Fuck it, Pete, let's just do a Q&A." And we just called people up to just ask questions, and it was good. I mean, there's a
fantastic.
little issue that we're working through,
Right.
which is people get a little talkative.
Yeah.
You get your moment on the mic, and you want to tell your life story and your favorite color and all that.
It's funny though, having Paul in there, you get some odd German reactions.
Yeah, every now and then you get just a German popping in.
Yeah.
Had one asking Paul for an internship.
He said, Paul said he had to go through me. So this guy DM'd me. And he's like, hey, I'm interested in this internship. I'm never going to reply
That's
to the guy.
amazing.
Tell me go biking.
Poor
Go
guy.
Viking.
But yeah, even doing a Q&A, we did 45 minutes of Q&A and with just me, and it was cool.
Maybe we should do QAnon next time.
I like QAnon. That's a good show. I'm just saying that could be our third show.
Yes. Real quick, before we even get to the shout outs, we might as well do it now. We mentioned the guy, but happy 40th birthday to none other than Paul Ripke.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
It's his
wow.
birthday?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Paul.
On the release of this tomorrow, Wednesday.
Okay.
It's
tomorrow.
his big 40.
He's going to be popping on Clubhouse tomorrow.
Yes, I'm sure it'll
It's just
be
going to be the Ripke show.
The Ripke show.
and it'll just be spewing German and you just, nod your head.
Yeah, I got to write that down. Okay. Here's what else we got to talk about. Super Bowl. First of all, I'm not a big football fan. I'm a decent level football fan. I fucking hate Super Bowls like that. I hate them. I remember that Atlanta Super Bowl where they came back from that. And it was the same thing. But I was like, man, this Super Bowl's a fucking blowout. Like, come on. And then, that was Atlanta, right? Am I
Atlanta, yeah.
Am I an idiot? Okay.
Brady was down 28-3 and came back and won.
Yep. So I remember that, and I was like, gosh, how stupid that a Super Bowl is going to go this way. And then they came back and it ended up being one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. But I hate when it's a complete blowout. That being said, old man Brady, this is what I gathered as a not too knowledgeable in sports. Tell me what you think. Old man Brady is just a superhuman.
Yeah.
And Kansas City just could not get it together. I mean, it just was a shitty game for them.
So before we talk about the game, did you watch the entire game?
No.
When did you tune out?
I was in and out the whole game.
So did you go to
I watched the first, if you want to be specific, I watched the first half of the second quarter, came back in at halftime, watched the whole
you just went and did whatever.
end of third and the fourth, yeah.
You're on your computer, reading, whatever.
Hate to say it, but I was reading.
What are you? Yeah.
I was reading. I was out on my balcony reading.
Did you have a food set up? What'd you do?
No. I was just alone on my balcony reading. And then I had it on in the living room and I could see through the glass. So if anything crazy happened, I would go in.
Yeah.
But when it was just a blowout, I was just reading, I came in to watch The Weeknd. And I went back out, enjoyed a nice book. The weather was nice.
The weather was very nice.
Yeah, I wanted to be outside.
The weather was perfect. So the ratings were down.
Well,
year over
you're
year.
welcome.
And I think it's pretty catastrophic for the NFL and sports in general.
Yeah.
Because if you think about a matchup, if you asked Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, in August, we have this shitty pandemic year. We have no idea how we're going to get through it. There's going to be games postponed. We're going to push to Tuesday games, Thursday games, whatever. Figure out how to get through the season. But guess what? You're going to have Tom Brady with this new team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Patrick Mahomes, defending Super Bowl champion. You could not have asked for a better finish.
No.
So it's the most iconic matchup that the NFL could have conjured up, and ratings were down. And that is really troubling. And here's where, to what you were saying about the game wasn't great because it was one-sided, but that was the whole point. When Mahomes is out there, you always think he has a shot. So Mahomes' last Super Bowl in the fourth quarter was down 10 points in 7 minutes and wins by 10 or wins by 9, whatever the number was. So if they couldn't hold a audience base with this, how are they going to do in the future?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking about it after we talked about it on Sunday. And the one thing that I think might be okay is I think that watching sports is a pretty big group activity.
Mm-hmm.
So I think all the bars obviously aren't viewing it.
Yeah.
All the people that are going over to each other's houses.
That still happened.
For sure. Don't you think not
I
on
saw
the
on
level?
Instagram, everyone was posting.
I agree. But don't you think if you looked at like the country, like look at like all the older people that would have tuned in or the whatever, like there's just not that social thing that happens around sports. I feel like I just wonder, this is what I'm getting at. I wonder if next year, let's just say we're back to full steam. Is this a permanent problem, or is this just a weird effect of how COVID is still affecting sports?
I think it's more the attention span of people.
Yeah.
So we've basically dumbed everything down to 10 to 20 second clips.
I know, man. Give me a quarter give me the football, give me the Super Bowl in 4 TikToks.
So if in a perfect scenario, you're a casual fan that wants to know what's going on, if you could skip the first 3 hours and just watch it in a 1 minute TikTok clip and then tune into the ending, you would prefer that.
Count me in.
Right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I do think you're right.
I think that's that's how most people think. And that's the problem. You have this older, I guess I'm the older generation.
You are.
That would watch 3.5 hours of football, and young people just don't give a shit. Because you could have skipped most of the game and had it come down to the last drive, tuned in for the finale.
You're right. Young people don't give a shit.
Yeah, and it's the way they consume content. What are they consuming? A 7-second TikTok dance?
At best.
Right?
That's long.
Is that long?
Yeah.
It's just boom, boom?
Yeah, it's just, I'm a set. On to the next.
Did you see, so Jackson Mahomes, who's Patrick Mahomes' brother.
He seems like the world's most annoying human.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I didn't know anything
Finally.
about him. P was hating on him. I was hating on P. I saw this guy. He was just in a box screaming.
Thank you.
And then Portnoy mocked his whole dance because he's a Brady fan.
Yep.
It was pretty good.
It was good, but like we talked about on Sunday, it's getting a little suspect to me.
Let's also not forget his
Stop
wife
beefing with kids.
Was going right back at ESPN for trolling Mahomes. It doesn't matter what side of the ball you're on. I'm sorry, but people like this are dumb because you just don't understand the internet then. Don't be on the internet. You can't
Whose
understand
wife?
everybody.
Mahomes' wife?
Mahomes' wife.
Oh.
If you
Fiancé,
don't
I
understand
think,
that every single page is just trying to meme everybody because that's what gets the most eyeballs, that's all it is. She tried to chirp back at SportsCenter and was like, trying to make a meme out of my husband. It's like, yes, it's just
you're
what
a
happens.
superstar. This is what happens.
But you
He was
know
like-
what else I took from it that I think is really bad is, I hate to say this is just my observation, is the only meme was the weekend caught in the fun house.
Yes.
Like, if you don't have any memes or anything of the game, like it felt like the next day, everyone was, if they were talking about the Super Bowl at all, they were only talking about the weekend.
It was the weekend meme and the streaker.
Yeah.
That was it.
That was it.
No one cared about the touchdowns, the sacks. No one.
No one cared. I feel like 5 years ago even, like you would be talking about the game and what happened and what happens now, and there was nothing. There was nothing. The next day was, what was the next day? Elon Bitcoin?
Yeah.
Yes.
So the next day was Elon Bitcoin. It dominated every bit of the news.
Sports, being as big of a sports fan as you can be, it's so clear there's an existential threat on the way it's consumed.
Yeah.
NBA, 3.5-3-hour games, no one's watching. Baseball's already seen this. No one's watching 3-hour baseball games. The NFL, which we thought was impenetrable, just declined in Super Bowl ratings with the most marquee matchup that they could have drummed up.
Yep. I don't know, man. It's that's a scary one long term.
Yeah, I feel like a sports franchise holder is like owning physical retail 10 years ago.
I know. Because I will say this too. Maybe my potential diagnosis is wrong about it being a social activity and people meeting up at home. But I will say I do think the pandemic sped up our appetite for shorter content. Because there hasn't been movies this year. There hasn't been any good longer form, except for some of those TV shows and stuff. But like, there's just been a lull in all that stuff. So all you've had is a whole year of just taking in quick content.
And then you have kind of the opposite. You have Queen's Gambit, which Netflix claims, 70 million.
Put the Super Bowl on Netflix. Literally, it'll have 150 million viewers.
Because they'll will it.
Yeah. All right.
But you'd have to break it up into 7 different episodes and people would binge the Super Bowl.
So what's
Totally down.
Here's the prediction where near term I'm going to be wrong about franchise values because the NFL and NBA are up with new TV deals.
Yeah.
And the argument is, they're going to get, the highest ever. Yeah. TV executives are morons. Similar to how physical retail executives were morons. They're going to go pay whatever multiple of the last deal because they don't know how to spend their money.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it seem like everything's okay. When I'm telling you right now, record this date. Pete,
Here you go, right
February
here into
9th,
this camera.
2021, from the guy who predicted COVID,
Tell him.
who's predicting the recovery of COVID.
Tell
May,
him.
it's over.
Predicted Clubhouse even. Give it to him.
Clubhouse,
Yep. Bitcoin.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. Drake.
You're gonna have all these franchises resting on their laurels because there's huge TV contracts that are impending in the next 12 to 24 months, and it's going to be an absolute, utter disaster.
Agreed. Okay.
All right, we got it documented.
I mean, we'll do the Gary Vee thing. Gary Vee always posts old clips with a date and says, I called it.
Yeah, so just
Do
say this,
that.
post this when it's relevant. We don't need to post it now.
You know, I want to post it now just so it can be in the Twitter stream. So
say
then we can go
everyone
back and
saved this.
retweet it and quote tweet it and be like,
Yeah.
told you so.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
It's better just to live there already.
And that's why you should listen to Q On and every Tuesday on Clubhouse.
All right, on it, I have to find out. I, last week, dropped you off a little package from Sweet Flower. In there was a beverage.
Sure.
A cannabis beverage. Sounds like you consumed it.
I did.
How was it?
I think I'm done with Sauvignon Blancs.
Wow.
Wow.
Is that a full commitment?
He's
For
an
the near term.
Wow.
He's an IPA and weed guy now.
Yeah. The beverage just took the edge off that I needed.
Right.
And I was just chilling.
It was the microdosing, I have to imagine.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just felt calm, relaxed, similar to what a glass of wine would do
Wow.
when you finish a long day of work.
But no dehydration.
No, I felt hydrated. I could have gone and done a GRC half marathon if I needed to.
Careful, don't you let D hear that. You'll be doing one next month. But lucky for us, so we partnered with Sweet Flower. We did read from earlier about the Super Bowl, but luckily for everybody, we convinced them to do it all month long. So through the end of the month, you can still go over to Sweet Flower and get 20% off at Sweet Flower locations all around LA.
It's the Apple store of weed stores.
It is. It's gorgeous in there. People say, there's this store and that store. I'm not going to put names out there because they don't deserve it. I've gone to a Sweet Flower and it's unlike any other experience.
Yeah, you feel like you're picking up the latest Steve Jobs iPhone.
Yes, it's beautiful in there. It smells great. The people are incredibly nice. It can't be beat.
Perfect.
It's perfect. You get 20% off on sweetflower.com. They have pickup and delivery. I did pickup. It was a smooth process.
Perfect.
People don't, dumb people don't wait in lines. I didn't wait in a line. I went in, grabbed my stuff, I left. I pretty much did it all within 15 minutes, travel time included.
You've learned your lesson because we actually got a picture sent of you in line at a weed store at one point.
And I was sick of that. I did. That was the creepiest thing. Damn, you might find this creepy as well. Anna just goes, I got a picture of you in line at a weed store last night. I go, what? And this guy who was standing in front of me, we made eye contact a couple times because we were just standing next to each other. This guy snapped a little photo out of the corner
Oh my God.
of me, and he's friends with Onnit.
Very good friends with me, Dee, and Drama.
How does
and
this-
he said, I didn't want to notify Pete that I knew him because I didn't want to get his head any bigger than it already is.
How does this always happen though?
I don't
you
know.
have so many friends who can take
I
pictures
don't know.
of me.
It's getting weird, and I no longer can take those risks, and that is the reason why I'm ordering through Sweet Flower, right through their sweetflower.com. Pick up and go before somebody gets me and captures me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay inside, Pete.
It's
we got
low
eyes
risk.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's more of a risk for me to leave. All right, great, guys. Head over to sweetflower.com. Use code GROUPCHAT, 20% off through the end of the month. Take advantage of it. Delivery or pickup. All right.
Next up, we got to talk about this Kobe thing, man. So,
Yeah.
After a year, they did their whole investigation of the Kobe helicopter crash. And it turns out, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking out of line here, but this is the assumption that that I had. I think a lot of people had it. Pilot error.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't read the whole thing or anything, but it seems like he got, he was in a rush to get Kobe where he needed to get. Got disoriented in the fog. Crashed. That seems to be the reasoning.
Yeah, so the NTSB, which I guess is the aviation board that concludes these investigations, basically
National
said,
Transportation Safety Board, I think.
yeah, that it was pilot error. So I think it sounds like the pilot got disoriented, thought he was ascending above the clouds, was actually descending, and then got blindsided by hills. It's actually interesting when this crash happened, I remember a few days later we're in the office and Riley, friend of the pod, who's a licensed pilot, I remember him telling me before investigations, and he just like kind of did his research on what happened. He goes, that's 100% pilot error. Yeah. And it was basically that they should have never taken off. And when they took off, they should have never tried to complete the trip.
Yeah.
It's not like they were in the middle of nowhere. They were above the 101. That's what's the most troubling part, that this was seemingly avoidable at all costs.
Yeah.
And they were pacing the 101 like in parallel to get to Westlake. So for people outside of LA, I think they took off from Van Nuys. No, they took off from Orange County. They took off from Orange County.
They came up to Burbank.
Got it.
And was circling, waiting for permission to keep going.
Yes. So when they got permission to keep going, they were in parallel with the 101, which is a freeway that goes from essentially the valley
all the way up
near the city,
California,
up the state,
right?
Yeah, up the state of California, and they were just gonna. The pilot intention was to follow the 101 to get to Westlake, because if you just go down the 101, you get to Westlake, and with the clouds, like I grew up here, I know the 101. Like if you stop seeing the freeway, I mean, I don't know, it just seems like
I know, man. I feel bad for this guy's family because you know, when it's like it comes out, like the blame is officially being put on you and your judgment.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I mean, I guess in the moment, like.
And then there have been reports that when pilots of high profile clients, when they're flying, they want to play hero ball.
Yeah, that's what they're saying in some of the news stories.
Yeah.
He wanted to get Kobe where Kobe wanted to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's a shame. It's a shame when it comes down to like just a judgment error.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you could have just stopped, thought, been very careful, checked your instruments slowly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess, being in LA my whole life, there aren't many days where there's that kind of fog.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you're a local pilot, this is a kind of a, not a usual day. So
but you gotta believe a pilot, like you're trained on that.
Like it's not like you're in New York or Connecticut where there's different weather patterns and you're like, oh, I'm used to this.
That's true.
There's not weather patterns here. Look outside.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's
the 365 days, 350?
I have lived here
like
for 2 years, and I've come from a place that has a lot of weather. On one hand, I can count how many bad weather days there's been in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of them was January 26th.
You just gotta there's just gotta be, I don't know shit about being a pilot, but, and it's easy for me to sit here right now and say it, but like, there's gotta just be protocol for how to deal with heavy fog. Like that has to be, that's a pretty basic weather condition, you would think.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to stop because it's easy for me to sit here in my comfy little podcast chair and play shoulda, coulda, woulda. But like, damn it sucks that this happened because of fucking rushing and bad judgment. You know, when you're flying a helicopter full of kids and families and Kobe and oof.
Yeah, just unfortunately, in hindsight, it seems avoidable.
Yeah.
Because
totally avoidable.
Yeah.
That's what's sad. It's not like the engine failed.
Yes.
Or you know what I'm saying? Like
it's like
hit by lightning or like something crazy. It just, you were rushed and you made a judgment mistake that you should not have.
Yeah. And if knowing the LA area, when you're getting towards Westlake, there's hills.
Yeah.
There's hills on the north side of the freeway.
Because they, I believe, tried to actually sort of exit the 101 and go down the canyon. What's that road?
Was it Las Virgenes?
Las Virgenes. I believe that he was tracking Las Virgenes, the actual road. And then on the flight path, it looked like he tried to bail out and U-turn back towards the 101, but dipped into the mountain.
Yeah. And it's, like you said, it's easy for us to cast judgment on the pilot because who knows what air traffic control was telling him, who knows what the conversations within the chopper were going on. Like, I don't know.
Who knows? Okay. Well, beyond unfortunate, but at least that part of it is out and sort of put to bed. Robinhood.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking Vlad, man. Fucking Robinhood.
Fuck Vlad.
He can't stop talking.
Just shut up, Vlad. You know?
Where's this guy's PR team?
They're everywhere, apparently. Because they're like, go on this show, go on that
We
show.
only book him here.
Oh, my God.
Should we try to get
he'll
him
probably
on-
show up.
1,000%.
So give us a new explanation. Well, what happened was...
You see, my cat ate the wrong thing that day, and for
the
that
cat-
reason,
God. Okay, so what? Now there's a news story about Robinhood because Robinhood is being sued because of the young man who committed suicide. And apparently, before he committed suicide, he tried to reach out to customer support 3 times, got no response to clarify what was happening with his, I believe he was trading on margin or something, took a big loss, something like that. And apparently now there's people, that work there coming out and saying, hey, like, our customer service people aren't even qualified to give the advice or the info that they're giving. They're very not responsive. There's huge problems in here that just, shocker alert, Robinhood doesn't have what they really should in place as far as customer service goes.
So I'm torn because I look at it from 2 angles. One, I think what Robinhood and a lot of these brokerages have done is enable average people to participate in the easiest way to grow wealth, which is the stock market. So from that angle, I think more access is better. But then they're not educating people who are trading on margin. So I was trying to think, like, how can you solve this? Because I don't want to prevent an average Reddit kid not being able to trade options because I'm going to sit here and say you're not smart enough to do that. Like, you can figure it out. So maybe is it a 2-minute tutorial and you have to answer 5 questions that make you show that you understand? Like, should that be like a quick way to verify? Because the biggest problem with investing, which is talked about widely, you can't invest in tech startups unless you're an accredited investor. And what was the biggest creation of wealth in the last 10 years? Investing in technology. So we blocked out the average person. So I don't want to do that for the average person who wants to participate in the stock market, but how do you create that extra layer so that at least the average person has to just show, like, I understand what I'm doing, and if I lose, I lose? I don't know, because I want more access, but I also don't want this to happen.
I agree. I do think... So I agree with you completely. And there's no way I could even come up with what my opinion is like this quickly, like as far as like, because I do think it's really great that they've broken down that wall, and there is that argument for like, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna go back to making them, there'd be some barrier to entry. The whole reason why it's so great is because you don't have that. I do think you're kind of in a jam though, if this young man reached out to customer support 3 times, I don't know, maybe he reached out back to back to back, and then and then committed suicide right after. I don't know the timing, but I do think if you're operating a platform with so much on the line that you are like breaking down those barriers, you have to have people in place over more than you think you would need to be there and be responsive.
Yeah, you have a startup that went into the most sensitive part of the economy, average Americans and their money, and didn't have the systems in place to safeguard them.
That's, I think, the problem.
Yes.
Right? It's like you can, do it, and then you don't have to pass a test. You don't have to do any of that. I'm fine with that. But I just think you got to over-index on support because of that. You're not selling fucking socks, and like, oh, sorry, you didn't hear from us.
Yeah,
like,
it's not like Instagram's down. We don't get to see our favorite influencer.
Yeah.
This is like, Robinhood's down. I think I've lost all my money.
Yeah, like this kid thought he lost more money than he ever even had.
I mean, I've messed around in a very small way on options. There are days I've woken up and I see my option that should have been 10x what it is go to 0.
Yeah.
And it was a glitch.
Yeah.
And it was not enough money for me to care. I'm just like, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And then later in the day, it refreshes. So
that's my problem. That's what I think the problem is. I don't think you need necessarily all that stuff, but damn it, man, if you're gonna do this, like have a shit ton of people there trained really well and acknowledging the fact that on any given day, thousands of people could think that they just lost their life savings and more.
Yeah, that's the tough part, because I guess, like, who's to blame? Do you blame the regulatory boards not having enough restrictions and guidelines on them? Do you blame the board and the shareholders
I'll just keep blaming Vlad.
or Vlad?
It's easiest.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Kick
I
him
also-
while he's down.
I also don't get how internally they didn't map out this scenario.
That's what blows my mind. How do you not see this coming? Especially allowing people to do things like trade on margin and options. Like it's more than like, I'll take $100 worth of Amazon. Like this is like dangerous shit.
And especially if you look at the transformation of Robinhood without actually knowing their data, pandemic starts March.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a Robinhood account because they're bored as shit.
Yep.
They start trading stocks. Then you have the birth of Davy Day Trader.
Yep.
And everyone, you compound that. And they're like, oh, that's boring. Amazon only goes up 2 to 5% a day.
Yeah.
I need 100% a day.
Yeah.
That's options. So they must have seen the growth from just people just buying long and short, transitioning to options. I was trading options as like out of boredom.
Yeah.
Not any money that would have affected my life negatively or positively, but I was actually just gambling like I would on a Sunday NFL.
Yep. But you understand it like pretty fucking thoroughly. You know, it's just like when you give this thing to a kid who doesn't know and it's like, oh, an option? This is cool. I
Yeah.
could 10x, like you said. Like, I have this opportunity. Cool. And that's fine. And I think that that's what's great about it. But if that kid calls, this would be different if that kid didn't reach out to try to ask what happened here.
Mm-hmm.
To me, if that happened, if he just traded options, saw the loss, committed suicide, I think that that's a different story. I think the fact that he reached out multiple times for advice or input or what happened and no one was there, I think that's where you get yourself into a real problem.
And I wonder if we'll ever see, because you can do the math on this, will they ever release it, Robinhood, how much money, well, you actually can't predict because you have no idea how much GameStop would have gone up in those 24 hours where trading was halted.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see, had it gone from 300 to 500, how much wealth would that have created for GameStop holders? Had it gone from 500 to 1,000, what would that have created for Robinhood holders?
Yep.
But then it went from 300 to 50, which is I think where it's at now.
Yeah.
How much wealth did that destroy?
Yeah.
You can do the math.
Plus, and I'll say this, you can do that math, but the math that you can't do that's like, I think, insanity is if you would have let it go to 500, it would have been more likely to go to 700. It would have been more likely to go to 1,000. Like you killed the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that you can't quantify. And that's why I think that was so horrendous of a move because you can't quantify it and say, yeah, you know, we took out $5 billion in blah, 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 whatever. Like you killed the momentum of something that actually was a good bet for someone who got in at 100. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't a stupid bet.
No.
And you potentially crush that person just based off of like fucking with the momentum.
So the $300 million that was of short interest on GameStop
Yeah.
reflected a $30 billion loss. So that $30 billion would have been 100 had the stock kept running.
Easily. Who knows? GameStop right now may be
Yeah, it's true.
Bitcoin numbers.
Yes, you're totally right.
Oh, man. Okay. Well, that's the rundown.
I want to we talked about Tesla Bitcoin in the beginning.
Yep.
I saw a post today, and it seems authenticated, that someone on Reddit posted 37 days ago. They work in corporate treasury at Tesla, and they're notified the Reddit board that Tesla was buying Bitcoin.
Damn, really?
And then he's like, we've already bought 800 million, and we're buying more. This is crazy. It's probably going to spike. Reddit, you need to roam the Reddit boards.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
It's all in Reddit. I mean, Elon did tweet like months ago, can you do large transactions on Bitcoin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, fucking Reddit, man. Reddit might change the entire wealth distribution in the country.
Reddit's always been the backbone to the internet in
Yes.
a lot of ways.
But has there always been insider trading and stuff?
Well, Wall Street Bets has been around forever.
Yeah.
And early on, it was actually just finance people.
Yeah.
It morphed into probably during the pandemic
Yeah.
where anyone just joined because they were interested.
Okay.
Also, like the majority of memes, the majority of what happens on the internet takes place there first. And now it's starting to become into the finance world. And it's starting to breach into these worlds that really, really matter. I think that's also a piece of it as well.
Okay, well, I'll sign up. Okay, you got me. I'll be on Reddit and Clubhouse with everyone else.
And honestly, that's a very successful route right now.
Okay. All right, let's wrap it up with seen on social. Anand, what have you seen on social media in the last week that you feel like the audience needs to know about?
So there's a lot of coverage that is on the internet right now of the impeachment trial in the Senate.
Yeah.
And
What's going on? Are we making progress?
they're presenting cases of like what happened. I just think it's just such a poor use of time.
Yeah, that's true.
What are you accomplishing?
But am I clear on this? If he gets convicted, he can never run for office again. Or is that not accurate?
No, that's right.
So to me, that's the only reason why the stakes seem worth it, or the time seems worth it.
But I guess the stakes are clear that you're not going to get 67 senators.
Yeah.
So this is more theater than if you thought there was a shot you could get 67 senators, I get why you'd go through this.
Yeah.
But in the time where we're creating small businesses by the day, we're still not open. Like outdoor dining in California just started a week ago.
Yeah.
You drive through the city. I've driven a lot in the last couple of weeks, and man, it looks like it doesn't look good.
Not
Los
pretty.
Angeles doesn't look pretty at all, and it's just depressing. Like venues that used to be hustling and bustling are just ghost towns.
Yep.
And this is what we're focusing on.
Yeah.
You have like how many millions of Americans unemployed? You have how many millions of small businesses just suffering? We still don't have a stimulus check.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this stimmy since
Yeah,
April.
Joe, I gotta say, man, you ran on it. You know, you were
Yeah.
pretty upfront about it.
I don't get why there isn't more. I mean, that's the problem, right? You have all these senators and politicians that this is their moment to go viral.
Yeah.
So they want to get up there and,
Get their TikTok clip.
get their clip of, lambasting Trump.
I lambasted the shit out of him.
Yeah. Instead of just like, do what's responsible.
Yeah.
Like, let's start fixing the country.
agree.
Let's focus on vaccine rollout. Let's focus on all these like things that directly benefit Americans. What Americans are benefited by Trump getting?
It's only
impeached?
that. It's only if he can't run again. Because this guy, from what I read and from my QAnon reporting, or maybe journalism behind the scenes, he won't admit that he won't call himself former president. He still calls
Really?
himself the 45th president of the United States. And
Okay. Got it.
But
'Cause-
on all of his letterhead, on everything, it normally would say the former president of the United States. Like that's how every president has done in the past. His does not acknowledge that he is the former president. And QAnon thinks the new date is March 4th, that he is going to,
reclaim the throne.
yeah, and Joe Biden's getting arrested. So
That's actually what's going on in QAnon world.
yeah, March 4th is the new date. So a lot of QAnon lost steam on the 20th because they all were promised this grand conclusion to QAnon where Joe Biden makes a fake speech, he gets arrested, whatever happens, but Trump remains president. When Trump lost power, a lot of people were like, oh shit, QAnon's fake. They've made up a new date, and it's March 4th. And there is, at the Amazon Studios in Culver City, there's a fake White House that is for movie filming.
Right.
There's probably 50 of those things around the country. They're convinced that Joe Biden is doing all of his press conferences, everything from the fake White House because he's not real president because Donald Trump's president.
Where are you finding this?
It's fucking, let me tell you what. Let me tell you what. Let me tell you
Parler?
what. It's on YouTube. Let me tell you what though. You click one video and you get 5 more. And I find out. You find one
and then you
video.
watch
how
5
many-
more.
these are
You
like
watch 5 more. And now actually, Q is right.
Yeah, I'm busting into that place tomorrow.
The YouTube algorithm is so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So I there was this moment on NBA on TNT, which I kept hearing on a podcast that Shaq went after Donovan Mitchell, who's a Utah Jazz player, and there was this like weird, awkward confrontation, and everyone kept referring to it in NBA world, and I was like, I gotta see what the actual confrontation was.
Yep.
So I went on YouTube and I searched it. I found it. Within 10 minutes, I watched like 7 NBA interviews.
Yeah.
Like it just kept going.
I'm telling you, bro. Type in QAnon one time. Watch a Tucker Carlson
You know how
clip.
good it was? It was all stuff I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Because I'm an NBA fan.
Yeah,
so
they're
like the
good.
next video, I was like, oh, that's cool. Oh,
Yep.
I want to hear that one. I
Yeah.
want to hear the next one.
I did the same thing, but I watched I think the Floyd Mayweather Pacquiao fight. I just had it on the other night for fun. And I got into like lessons about 40 tips for how to have better defense. I was watching them all.
And that's all DeepMind.
Yep.
DeepMind was the AI machine learning company Google bought for $400 million, I think 6 years ago. And they claim that DeepMind has added 15 billion of revenue annually to YouTube. Because
I believe it.
they're predicting what we want to listen to.
Look what happened to us.
Yeah.
You're the biggest Shaq fan. I'm in QAnon. I'm telling you, man. But that's the March 4th is the day. I'm just telling you, it's scary what is happening that we're not seeing, that like there's a lot of momentum still happening there. And if this guy came out in 2024 and freaking ran for president, but whatever. I mean, they're not going to convict him, I guess. But that's my only thing. That's the only reason why I support it is I'm like, whatever we got to do so this guy legally can't be president ever again. Because I'm telling you, he is the same way he's not went against QAnon this whole time. I'm telling you, he's going in on the conspiracy that he's still president.
It's also crazy we haven't seen him on Hannity on Fox or Tucker Carlson. This seems like the least famous Trump has ever been in his life.
But isn't that only because of the impeachment trial? He just doesn't want enemies, ammo, nothing. If he says
because he's on trial, he doesn't want.
So he's on trial. If he
pipes off on Hannity. When has that stopped him before?
Exactly, but I think that people are getting through to him. I don't know. I don't fucking know. But I think yes, piping off on Hannity and you get in trouble. But it's also you don't want to make enemies with the Republicans. There's already a divide happening with the Republicans where there's like the Trump party and the Republican party. If you pull more people to the Republican party that say, yo, we need to shut Trump up, they're going to vote to impeach him. And I think that's the strategy. But I think we'll see after this is over.
But for the purposes of his celebrity, it's waning by the day.
Yeah,
Every day we don't hear from Trump, you think he's like Kanye.
Like Kanye. You come out, drop an album, go on TMZ, bam, everyone's tuning in. Doesn't matter how long.
Yeah, because, and I also think for the purposes of celebrity, wouldn't it make sense for him to just mouth off on Hannity, mouth off on Tucker Carlson, get 67 senators to go against him, get 15 Republicans, and he becomes a martyr for this whole movement?
Yeah, but I think then he actually has
goes to jail.
Yeah, like then now those guys are against you. Yeah. And I think that there's two routes here. One route is Trump is, for the rest of his life, a very, very strong voice in the Republican Party that you can't ignore.
Yeah,
that none of the politicians can ignore, the money can't ignore, nobody can ignore Trump's voice. I think the other route is the Republicans realize that Trump is actually the most threatening thing to the Republican Party, and they band together to get him out.
So
I think
I jumped into a MAGA Clubhouse over the weekend.
See, thank you.
Brad Pascal, I think he was campaign manager.
Yeah.
So his Clubhouse profile was that he's the architect of MAGA. And
well, shit.
So I went on his Clubhouse.
Brad.
Only 70 listeners, so we're crushing MAGA.
Okay, good.
Group chat's crushing MAGA.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
He's just shitting on the Republican Party. He called Paul Ryan a moron.
Yeah, see?
He said Mitch has no balls. Like, it was crazy.
That's what's happening. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. I don't know, man. You know what else is crazy about Clubhouse is it shows everyone else if you're in the room or not.
Yeah.
I clicked on it. You were in some room, probably by accident. I actually screenshotted it because I was going to send it to the group chat that had all like Asian writing.
Oh, I went in that room.
What was it there?
It was a Chinese room. I wanted to see what they're talking about.
Was anyone speaking English?
No.
Okay.
That's why I went in.
I opened Clubhouse and it said, I'm Murthy. It was all Asian. I was like, okay, he's learning. I don't know. If I would have seen fucking the architect of MAGA and Anand's name was in there, I'd be like, what?
Like, first day it's China, and then
I would have died to have that screenshot. Oh, my God.
I actually went on just to be like, because, it got blocked in China already within a week.
Got it. Too dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mine is just nice and lighthearted and fun. And now that I'm a QAnoner, my eyes are really open to conspiracy theories, or what I call them, truth. And the new conspiracy theory in pop culture world is Kodak Black, was pardoned and he was released from jail, courtesy of Donald Trump. And that real Kodak Black was not released, and it's actually a clone.
So do you subscribe to this theory?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, if you look, he's significantly skinnier. His voice sounds like an impression of Kodak Black. A little bit different tattoos.
We've also seen this with Milani. She was also a stunt double.
Oh, Melania. You already forgot her name?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay.
Never knew it in the first place.
That's your first lady, Pete. So yeah, it happened to Melania, and now Kodak Black. So there you go.
Last thing, Mikey, who went to the Super Bowl, was taking content the whole day and sending it to us. And he filmed when Biden and Joe Biden were giving their speech. Shocked, no booze.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone just listened. And they gave a moment of silence for COVID deaths. I thought they were going to say, fuck you.
Especially in Tampa.
Take your mask off.
I've been seeing tweets and it's like, the irony of like, they'd play commercials about, you know, the frontline workers, and then they would tune back into a Super Bowl where there's 22,000 fans practically maskless.
Yeah, and in
Piled
LA,
into a
I
stadium.
can't go to a restaurant with a TV outside.
Right. But
That's the rule.
Yeah, that's so stupid. Did you see, they weren't following any of the protocols.
no.
You see Michael Rubin posted on his,
Oh, yeah.
it was like Meek Mill,
TikTok
Shaq,
and, yeah.
no mask in sight.
No. It's over.
There are places in this world where people are living that the virus does not exist. And in other places, it's the most rampant thing
That's true.
in the entire world.
Okay. We got some shout outs?
Always.
We sure do.
Let's go.
Tim, this is
Let it
on
rip.
you. I don't have any besides Paul Ripke's 40th birthday.
Shout out to Paul.
Shout out to Paul. Happy birthday, Paul.
Yeah, we can lead off with this.
I'm going to learn how to say happy birthday in German. by
I'll look it
tomorrow.
up while Tim reads
good
his.
call. Send him a voice note.
Yeah.
Tim, go ahead with your shout out. I'm
Okay.
going to look it up in German.
Okay. Pete, you mentioned that I should tune into the Clubhouse last night in the midst of drunk D saying Clubhouse 100,000 times. Who said I didn't tune in?
No.
I'd obviously keep a low profile, but was wondering what the Kathy said about me when my
this is
name
the
was
guy.
brought up. I'm a man of the people and like listening to audience feedback, unlike drama.
He has a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
He always
Yeah,
makes
you don't stay for these,
a
yeah.
jab.
Yeah. And the jab has been that you don't stay for them lately.
And then
That you don't stay for the shout outs. So then he just turns
you know
that
what?
into
I'm
his
fucking
jab.
out of here, man.
I mean, you might as well stay this time.
Later.
This
I
guy's
don't want
got
to hear
you.
your stupid shout out.
I would consider doing an interview if I find a good voice changer. I already promised on a prior episode that I would come on the pod if my real life alter ego was invited. We don't know what your real life alter ego is.
We don't even know what your real
how are
life
we
ego
supposed
is.
to? What are we supposed to do with that information? My concern is that doing a phone interview might be minimal and potentially boring from my end if I don't say much. I might just come on Clubhouse or on the pod at the end of the year and reveal my identity, but I'm trusting my gut on when I think the time is right.
This has to be one of our friends.
That's what I was trying to think because he's commented on very particular things that he's either been listening since the very beginning.
Yeah.
None
he's
of
in-
our close friends are diligent enough to do this every
Not
episode.
close. I don't think close friend.
I don't think close, but I think he's
Yeah.
floating around that the brim.
For the listener, this is, Dixie Normus,
Yeah.
Satoshi.
Satoshi,
Yeah. That being said, don't ever threaten me again, Pete, or I will go directly to your higher up. IG burner accounts exist for a reason. Don't need a Queen's Gambit when I just finished Matthew with this checkmate. Get your people in line, Tim. Pete spent a month in Atlanta and thinks he's 2 Chainz. A month in Atlanta is a good cover-up for I really spent a month preparing and participating in the Caucasian invasion at the Capitol. Regardless, much love. Have a great week.
there he
This
is.
guy who we don't know just threatened me.
There he is. He did threaten you, and he hated on me, and he was in the Clubhouse, is what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
Okay.
It's gone completely negative.
Yeah, I mean, this guy turned quick.
Yeah, we
His
made an
shout
enemy.
outs.
Yeah.
His
yeah.
shout outs just rag on the pot. These aren't shout outs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here we are.
Well, we'll see, buddy, if yours get read anymore. Because
Ooh.
I'm the one who accesses them. So we'll see.
I mean, you
Uh-oh.
did just call on the storm of fake accounts. You said if you threaten me
Is that
again.
all we got? Is there more?
I have the German translation.
What is it?
Hold on.
Tag Paul.
What?
Alles Gute zum Geburtstag, Paul.
That's happy birthday?
Yes.
So play that and then we'll
that's
say
that
Paul.
was happy birthday, Paul.
Oh, okay. That
Just
was
play
happy
that, and
birthday,
then we'll
Paul.
say Paul, and
Okay,
we'll
hold
end
on.
the
Hold
episode.
on. Let me get the. Okay, ready?
Alles Gute zum Geburtstag.
Paul.
All right. Happy birthday, Paul.
Thanks,
We're
Paul.
out of here.